We think of the wealth of colonial America and ultimately the United States, you cannot point to a more primary source than slavery. Elizabeth Key was the daughter of Thomas Key, who was a legislator from Virginia, and an unnamed, probably enslaved African woman. Before Thomas Key died, he willed that his daughter, Elizabeth Key, would be freed at 15 years old. Her new master decided to defy the wishes of Thomas Key and kept her enslaved. On a plantation, she actually met this white indentured servant who was around her age by the name of William Greenstead, who had some legal training. And the two of them developed a romantic relationship and had a child. When her new master died in 1655, William Greenstead and Elizabeth Key sued for the freedom of Elizabeth Key as well as their newborn child. And they won. They won their case. And they won their case because Elizabeth Key made the case that her father was free and she was a Christian. And in British law, and Virginia in 1655 was a British colony, in British law, you could not enslave a Christian, and the status of the child was derived from the father. And so again, Elizabeth Key was like, my father is free and I'm a Christian, so I should be free. And by 1657, that case had been resolved and she won her freedom. And so other enslaved Africans who were also Christian and their fathers were white, they were the product of a white man and an African woman, also began suing for their freedom. So by the 1660s, Virginia leaders who were slaveholders began to recognize that more and more enslaved Africans were basically winning their freedom. And so they had to change the laws in order to keep these people enslaved. These people who slaveholders had invested a tremendous amount of money in, and the new laws stated that the status of the child derived from the mother, and that Christians, enslaved Christians, could not basically sue for their freedom on the basis of their new Christianity. And so that was able to quash or stop these freedom suits. These new laws in the 1660s showed just how critical the maintenance of keeping people, Black people, enslaved was to the lifeblood of Virginia, a colony that was seeking to grow its wealth by planting tobacco, which was the major product at the time in colonial Virginia, a product that was sweeping England and Midwestern Europe in its popularity. And in order to do so, they needed a pretty steady labor force, and that steady labor force was increasingly enslaved Africans who were permanently enslaved, in contrast to white indentured servants who in a few years could basically become free.